tell people what Deebo said that you think we should pay more attention to?
Okay, so this got buried because Deebo Samuel hung up, and anytime you do that, that's going to be a viral moment. I think he should know that. But okay, that aside, we can come back to that later. He was asked about Trey Lance and gave a good answer. He said he's actually improved quite a bit. He just got hurt. He's got a lot to prove, but he has improved quite a bit. And I feel like whenever a big name Niner is put in front of a microphone this offseason, Kittle, Deebo, Kyle, and they're asked about Lance, this is what they say. He's a lot better. You can see it. He's more confident. He's having fun. He's a lot better. And none of the national reporters ever react to that. They're always saying like, oh man, he sucks. He's third in the depth chart. He might get traded, kicked off the team. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, are you not listening? All the best players and the head coach of the team are saying he has made significant strides. He's enjoying himself. He's confident. I feel like I don't understand why people aren't talking about that. And I think that's the story here. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to do anything, but it does mean that his stock is up in Santa Clara. His stock is up.
I don't put too much stock in what Kyle says about him because Kyle and John Lynch if they want to trade him, have a vested interest in praising him and talking him up because it helps get other teams interested.
That's true.
Have they sent those marching orders to the players and are the players following them? I don't know. It's encouraging that he said nice things about Trey. I hope they're all true, by the way. I'm a Trey Lance guy. I've wanted Trey Lance to start forever. But if
it wasn't true, I don't think Deebo and Kittle would say it because they weren't, you know what I mean? I think they would say stuff like
Deebo wouldn't.
I don't know. I think they would. We've heard the 49ers find ways to praise Trey Lance without praising him for years. He's a great kid. He's such a smart guy.
Made of the right
stuff. He's made the right stuff. I mean, that's not what they're saying. And what they're saying is, we've been waiting to see some strides. It's been a little bit of time. He has some setbacks, but we see something. And it's early, but we definitely see something. It's encouraging. And I just feel like no one talks about that. I think I was at minicamp. I saw something too. In the past, he would throw the short passes too hard. The screens, the slants, the shallow crosses, throw them way too freaking hard. It was a problem because there's a lot of short throws in this offense. What I saw this offseason is a guy who all of a sudden can throw the short passes with touch. And that's a big thing for him because I think he's always been a good downfield passer. I think he always has been. He hit some really nice downfield passes in Chicago last year, week 1, that no one remembers because he missed some screens and lost the game. So I think it's true. We'll see if it keeps going.
I hope it does. That would be fantastic. Like, please just let him get out there and show it. Like, God,
right.
Damn.
Right.
Let him play in the preseason. Don't take away preseason.
Let him play with McCaffrey. Let him play quarterback. Don't make him play what he did at North Dakota State. He's been in the system for 3 years. You've been teaching him. Let him run the Brock Purdy offense. The one time you let him run something like that was against Houston. He freaking won. And he settled in as the game went on. And by the second half, he was eviscerating an NFL defense that had done pretty well against other good quarterbacks that year. So, yeah, I'd like to see that. I really think it'd be too bad if they banished him or got rid of him before he could play a preseason game or a real game with Christian McCaffrey. But thankfully, they've done such a good job of nuking his trade value that I think they have no choice and he'll get a chance eventually.
That is the weird part about this, is that they may have been inadvertently found a good quarterback because they've nuked his trade value so much that now they're like, well, we've got to give somebody these reps in the preseason. Exactly. Right? Like, he almost has to play by default.
Like if they had done a better job of boosting his trade value, he might be gone right now. But because they made it so obvious that they're so displeased with whatever they saw from him in practice, there's nothing they can say at this point. They're stuck with him. And given their pattern of not really doing a great job of keeping their quarterbacks upright and on the field, you kind of feel like no matter what they choose to do at quarterback, Trey's probably going to get a chance eventually. And if McCaffrey's out there, who knows what could happen?
Yeah, history has shown that he's going to get a chance to play at some point.
We'll take the blame out of it. History just suggests he's going to get a chance eventually, whoever, for whatever reason.
The 49ers have had one quarterback or one season with a healthy quarterback all year, and that was 2019. They've only had one of those since 2014. So even before Kyle got there, we just don't see full quarterback seasons at San Francisco. It's maddening.
And what's crazy about the 2019 season, go back and remember, Jimmy was coming off a torn ACL. He didn't have OTAs or minicamp. And so and he sucked in training camp. and he sucked in preseason. And there were reports that maybe Nick Mullins might be running the. So from Kyle's perspective, he was very nervous about his quarterback. He wasn't fully prepared. And what did they do that year? They ran the hell out of the ball. And that is one way that you can keep your quarterback freaking upright. And we asked him after the Eagles game, like, what can you do? And he got real snarky. He's like, well, maybe I should run the ball every time. Dog, that's what you did to win the NFC Championship game 4 years ago. You can do that. Like, that is your formula. Don't act like it's not. So I'd like to see the Niners be real committed to the run early in the season. If you're going to start Brock, fine, whatever. But his job early on should be handing off. And not just to McCaffrey, to Mitchell and Mason too. You got 3 of the best running backs in the league. Use them all and win that way like you did in 2019. Run.
I think that's what he wants to do. I think he would prefer, first and foremost, to, like, if he could pick any kind of game, he would pick the Green Bay game. Like, great, let me throw it 9 times or 8 times. I don't care. And I'll just run it every time. I don't think he wants to throw the ball. I think he is a run coach.
I disagree.
Because he grew up.
I think that was all about Jimmy. I think that was like, I'm showing Jimmy up. I don't trust Jimmy. I think he wants to throw the ball. He's a wide receiver. When Brock's out, when he has a quarterback he trusts, sometimes he throws the ball too much. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, I think what you're saying is correct. Like, he clearly lost faith in Jimmy. Oh, I literally said it during this podcast series.
And maybe that's good this year. Maybe it's like, look, I trust Brock, but he hasn't had an off season. He's coming off this. I can't just throw him out there. Like, I gotta protect Brock. I gotta run the ball. That's when the Niners are at their best. When Kyle's like, I gotta protect my quarterback. Yes, you do. Do it. You could do it.
This is the crazy thing, right? Kyle just admitted that he lost faith in Jimmy against Minnesota and didn't want him to throw the ball against the Packers. And yet after that season, they still stuck with him instead of going to Tom Brady.
Why? Why? You told us what you thought of him in that Minnesota game. Nothing changed. Like, and that's why I keep feeling with the Niners is not a united front on this quarterback issue. It's like John likes Jimmy and Kyle has reservations, then Kyle likes Trey and John has reservations and John likes Brock and Kyle has reservations. Like, that's probably why they never, stick to something or figure it out, because they have competing ideas.
That's the smartest analysis of this whole quarterback situation that I've heard anybody make, that there is a split there. And that's why they're always waffling, because they're always switching plans and then having a backup plan from the other side.
Well, the original plan was wait a year for Kirk, and they passed on Mahomes and Watson, and it was very embarrassing. And they were like 0-10. And they had just, like, honestly, maybe they thought we might get fired. I mean, Chip Kelly got fired going 2-14. If we go 0-16 this year, we may not get Kirk Cousins. So I think they made a panic move at the deadline when they were about 0-8, traded for Garoppolo, which was not their plan. And I think John loved it, because I think he felt, I saved this. I freaking saved this. Kyle's plan sucked. He didn't want Mahomes. He wanted Cousins. It wasn't going to work. I saved this. I got hired to be a freaking face man, but I did something great. I found the franchise quarterback. And Kyle always in the background, like,
well, you know what the Jimmy trade did is it made the rest of that season irrelevant. Even if they lost the games, it would have been like, well, now he's got his quarterback.
Right.
Let's see what they do the next year.
Right.
And of course, he really got hurt in week 3. So, but I don't know. I like your point about Deebo and the praising of Lance and how nobody is talking about that.